everyone, my name is Devin, and welcome to my first ever YouTube video. I wanted to start this channel off talking about this thing and tell you why I think about death every single day. It's a bit depressing, I know, but you clicked on the video, so let's get started. So as you may have just seen, I have this thing hanging in my room, and without a doubt, anytime someone comes into my room for the first time or sees it for the first time, they ask me what it is, and when I explain it to them, they have the exact same reaction. It goes something like this. So yeah, that's pretty much it. This is my room. Cool, yeah, it's nice. What's that? Oh yeah, it's actually a... Oh, so it just like counts down until you're dead? Yeah, basically. You're weird. I'm gonna leave. Yeah, I was just about to say the same thing. So for those of you who don't know what this is a Memento Mori Life Calendar. Now, I know that doesn't really explain much, but essentially, this thing is made up of a whole bunch of squares, and each one of these squares is meant to represent a single week in your life. Each line here has 52 squares, representing, you guessed it, 1 year of your life, and you repeat down until you die. So that's how this thing works. It's pretty simple. You live a week, you fill in a square. That's all I got for you. So I don't really blame my friends or any of you watching for thinking this thing's weird. I know it can be a bit weird to track your life like this, but I wanted to take a little bit of time today and talk to you guys about why this thing right here is one of my favorite purchases of all time. So let's get started. Reason number one, it's really easy to use. So I've used a ton of other self-help tools in the past, and the issue with a lot of them is that they require you to have some sort of action once or maybe twice a day in even some cases. I have two examples here. The first one is the 5-minute journal. This one requires you to do 2 entries, one in the morning and one at night. And then also just my regular journal, and this is, daily, hopefully. What ends up happening, and what's happened in my case, as you can see, is that I've missed days. Life happens, and it sucks because I got in this rhythm, and I was doing it every day, twice a day, and the thing that you once did twice a day or daily turns into something that you did or do weekly, that turns into something you do monthly, that eventually ends up being something you don't do at all. And that's not the point of these tools. They are supposed to be a part of your routine. You're supposed to do them every day. The reason I like the Memento Mori calendar so much, in this very long-winded point, is that it literally requires action once a week. Pick a day. My day is Sunday, and fill out the square. It's as simple as that. It's actually become part of my routine. It's actually a really great way for me to wind down the week. I really enjoy on a Sunday night reflecting back on the week, reflecting on the week ahead, and filling out that square. And this tool is fantastic for anyone who feels like they have tried journaling or they have tried the 5-minute journal or something along those lines and just can't stick to something. You literally have to do it once a week, and that's honestly too little for you not to do anything. So it's a great tool. Reason number 2, it forces me to reflect. I don't use the word force lightly in this case. The calendar is in a place in my room that forces me to look at it every single day when I wake up and every single night when I go to bed. You're forced to look at the calendar, and you're able to look back on your day and think about it without having to actually take any action. The thing about filling something out day to day is that life fluctuates so much for all of us. By only having to fill something out once a week, you really can zoom out and generally look at your week as a whole. And not that I'm saying certain weeks can't be bad or better than others, but generally they tend to have less fluctuation than our day to day. And so you can really look at that calendar and think to yourself and truthfully reflect on how the past week has been. Have you grown? Has anything changed? Are you better as a person? From week to week, rather than this day-to-day routine that we often find ourselves engaging in journaling or in these other sorts of activities. You can almost view it as a beginner's introduction to reflection versus daily or anything along these lines. Being able to zoom out, look at the square and ask yourself, what did I do on that square? And reflecting on those actions is really powerful, and another reason I absolutely love the calendar. Number 3, it puts life into perspective. The thing about the calendar that I think turns off a lot of people is the idea that your entire life is mapped onto one page, one poster. And yes, this can be daunting, but at the same time, it really starts to put life into perspective. It makes you ask yourself, if I only have fire truck. It makes you ask yourself, if I only have roughly 4,000 weeks to live, why am I spending time, this finite resource, doing stuff that I don't want to do? I've only had the calendar for 6 or 8 months at this point, but I remember looking at that line half full when I first got it, and looking at it now, near the end of that line, and thinking how much my life has changed in that period of those 25 weeks or so. I've had some life-changing events happen to me. I got a new job in a new field. I moved out of my parents' house for the first time. I'm living on my own, supporting myself. All these things happened within that period of time. And it makes me realize that life really does fly by. And having this calendar reminds me to just slow down and enjoy the time that I have here, because none of it's guaranteed. Now, the calendar also does the opposite for me. I know I just said that time really does fly by if you don't pay attention to it, and life is short, and so we shouldn't be wasting any of our time. But the calendar also really puts into perspective how much time we do have. A week is not a short period of time. A lot can happen in a week. You can get fired from your job. You can get a new job. You can meet the love of your life. I don't know. A lot can happen. A lot has happened in a week for me. I'm sure a lot has happened in a week for yourself as well. When you put 4,000 of these onto a calendar, it really puts into perspective just how much time you have to do things that are important. A lot of us can get a ton done in just a single week. And when you add these weeks up, you can do truly life-changing work in that amount of time. People forget that you have to die, and people will go to great lengths to not think about this, to actively avoid it. People are terrified of it. But the funny thing is, the same people who are terrified of death are the same people who spend hours watching 2 seasons of a show on Netflix or scrolling through Instagram. And not to say that there's anything wrong with these. I do these things too, probably too much sometimes. I could spend hours upon hours watching YouTube videos on any given night. But like Marcus Aurelius says, stop what you're doing for a moment and ask yourself, am I afraid of death because I won't be able to do this anymore? The this in this situation can vary, But Marcus wants to put into perspective exactly what you're doing with your time, with your life. The truth is that you and me are likely wasting the time that we are so scared to lose when we die. But people forget that time is a finite resource. So stop treating it like it's not. So I'm a huge Tim Ferriss fan. And one of the things that Tim is famous for asking himself is, what if I did the opposite?
Hey everyone, so I'm editing this video and I've realized that the audio in this next segment is absolutely terrible, so I apologize in advance. I'm still new to this YouTube thing, so I'm figuring it all out. But anyways, let's get back to the video.
And truthfully, if there's one thing that I want you to take away from this video, it's this idea of what if I did the opposite? I want you to apply that to this situation with Memento Mori. What about instead of ever thinking about death and being scared of it, you applied Tim's framework and you did the opposite. You actively thought about death. I challenge you to spend even a little bit of time, 1 minute, 5 minutes of your day, just thinking about death. Ask yourself what it is that you enjoy doing so much. The idea of death, the idea of no longer being able to do that thing, scares you from even thinking about it in the first place. And you might be saying to yourself, but Devin, I only like scrolling through Twitter because I like seeing funny tweets that make me laugh. And that's great, but ask yourself, why is that? Maybe you like comedy. Maybe you want to start a Twitter page with your own funny tweets. Maybe you want to start a YouTube channel and do comedy skits. I don't know what it is, but I can promise you that every single person has their thing if they can just dig in a little bit deeper and ask themselves, why do I actually like this thing? Now, I'm not asking you to quit your job and pursue Twitter as your full-time career, but really dig in and spend some time asking yourself these questions, asking yourself why it is you enjoy doing certain things. The reason I say this is because when you ask yourself these questions, you get to understand yourself extremely well. Now, I don't know what you are going to uncover. That's up to you to be completely honest with yourself, but I can promise you are going to uncover a lot. And I truly think Memento Mori, the reason I keep that calendar on my wall, is a really great way to fast track this process. You're gonna really quickly learn exactly what it is that you like, and as a result, be able to cut out the things that you don't. Today is June 26th, and it's my 24th birthday. On these milestones, birthdays or anniversaries of sorts, I tend to get very introspective. I start to reflect on my life and what I'm doing with it. And that's a huge reason I'm starting this YouTube channel, is because of this reflection. The Memento Mori calendar has made me realize that this is something I really want to try to pursue. I don't know if it's going to work out. I sure hope that it does and I like it. That would be great. But I know that every time I look at that Memento Mori calendar and I fill in another week and I haven't tried something that I've wanted to try forever, I know that the time is slipping away. And I do not want to be on my deathbed or in a place where I am wishing that I could go back and try this thing that I never actually did. And I hope everyone watching this video can pull something away that I said. If you don't want to buy the Memento Mori calendar, at least reflect on death for a few minutes every day. And if you don't want to do that, then at least write down some things that you enjoy doing and really dig into why you enjoy doing them. And I truly think that if you're reflecting on these ideas and you're asking yourselves these questions and you're being honest with yourself and your answers, you are going to go down a path. It may not be the one you're currently on. It may not be the one that you thought you wanted to go down, but it is going to be your path. And it's going to be genuine and potentially scary, but the one that you want to go down. And if you try and you don't like it, that's okay, because life is just a bunch of trial and error anyways. And keep trying, because I think that eventually this framework will lead you to a place that you end up doing something that you truly love. But that's all for me. This was my first video. I appreciate everyone that is... But that's all for me. I really appreciate everyone who watched through to the end of this. I'm excited to start this journey with everyone, with myself, and we'll see you in the next video. I don't really know how to end this, so I'm just gonna walk away now.